So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the presentation of the Master of Science in Management, Technology and Economics. I am Stefano Brusoni, the Director of Studies for MTEC and Professor of Technology and Innovation Management. I will share this presentation with Bastian Bergman, our Program Coordinator, and with Arber Sedigi, one of our students and member of the OBIS board. I think the presentation will be kind of split in three main topics. Why our master, that's going to be my topic. How we get organized, generally speaking, that will be the topic of Bastian, and what we do in concrete terms. Albert will share a few examples of skills and content modules that are quite important for us. So why this master program, or why MTech, if you like? Why a Department of Management and Economics at ETH? Well, let me frame it this way. Everything we do has to do with change, and technology clearly has a lot to do with the changes we initiate, we try, we introduce, sometimes we fail to introduce. However, one thing we know very robustly is that people do not like to change. And again, this is not a common sense kind of achievement of my old age. This is actually pretty robust empirical evidence all the way down at the neurological level. This is what I do research-wise, by the way. I put people into brain scans and I see what happens in the brain when people, when engineers, when senior leaders actually change behavior. They don't like it. They might do it, but they don't like it. And this is a problem because it means that a lot of the technologies we develop here at ETH will take a very long time to impact society. Our job is understanding how to speed up this diffusion process. To speed that up, we have to engage people in change processes. There are two ways of doing it. There are two problems to solve. One, we have to give people the incentives and the motivation to try out something new. For example, we lower the prices of energy efficient technologies. That's an incentive solution. That is what our colleagues in economics study most of the time: incentives, motivation. We also need to help people develop the capabilities to change. They need to understand how to change behavior and how to contain risks. Understanding the skills and capabilities is what we do in management. So incentives and skills. If we can realign incentive and skills, we can engage people in change processes. That might actually happen faster than usual. And this is important because we don't have time. If you look at this slide here, you see what I mean when we don't have time left. We have to speed up the diffusion of new technologies that might help us address issues related to climate change. To do that, we need to understand better how to motivate people and organizations to embrace new technologies, how they can develop the skills they need. Another very important challenge is on the next slide, the so-called digital transformation. Digital transformations is ubiquitous, and one thing that it will affect is employment structures. Jobs will disappear. New jobs will be created. The transition will be painful. We need to understand this creates, by the way, very strong pushbacks to the adoption of such technologies. Again, we need to contain these pushbacks. To do this, we need basically to understand how to engage people in change. That's why on the next slide, you'll see what we try to do here. We try to train and develop a new generation of leaders, people who understand technology, that understand how to turn technology into innovation, i.e. new products, new services, and know how to engage people in these transformational processes, how they can help people understand why change is needed, how to implement it, and what to do to really make it successful. I will now leave the floor to Bastian to explain how we try to achieve these objectives within the master program. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefano. So yeah, we just learned about these challenges and the potentials. And so my part will be about what could you expect actually from the MSc program at MTech. So let me add a few slides to unpack a bit the different dimensions of our program. So what the MSc MTech is all about, in the introduction we heard already, it's about integrating the natural science and technology with management and economics. That's one close aim. The other thing is going beyond theory. I mean, scientific understanding is key, of course. At MTech also, we ground all our understanding of how innovation happens, of how decisions are made, how sectors in the economy interrelate with each other is kind of key to research about these phenomena. But it's also key for us to put these into contexts, into real life scenarios, which enable then you in order to deal with these. As a third element, we can say that's about succeeding together. What we heard in the introduction is kind of cooperate, sharing your ideas with other people, making impact, communicating your results. This is what the program is also about. As a second dimension, what can you do with the MSc MTech degree? You see here on the far left, you will be able to cut across disciplines. This is what we take very serious. Not only we integrate the natural and the technology, but we also expose you to different kind of ways to address problems from the social science perspective, either in management or in economics. Now, this creates you also the mindset to lead change and to master the ever more complex challenges. You are able to master or to combine different elements, different people with different mindsets into a joint endeavor. Second, you will also understand how to transform ideas into reality. That's a very important fact. You have to basically translate your ideas into practice. Third, again, you will be able to recognize and tap into your full potential, realizing these skills. Just to give you a visual impression of the topics you're going to expect, you're going across these 2 years at MTech. We have here some sample lecture titles, which may give you a bit of a flavor of what kind of lectures you're going to expect, what kind of topics are covered. So you see here, for example, new technologies, banking and finance. You see principles of econometrics, some more theoretical approaches. You see some economic growth, cycles and policy, but also system dynamics, digital health technologies. You see also climate finance. You also see a kind of a spectrum of different topics addressing these issues when natural science, engineering comes together with management and economics. This slide shows you a bit of the structure of the 2 years you will spend potentially then at our department. What you see here is the first, second, and third semester combined with the final fourth semester, achieving 120 credit points in the end. In purple, you see here the different, let's say, lecture courses or elements as such. There is a kind of fundamental line, the core courses, which go a bit to 6 different skill areas across the program. And then there are these D-MTEC electives, which is a huge portfolio of courses which allow you to go deeper into the direction you intend to go. For example, can be leadership, can be innovation, can be finance, can be risk management. Together with this, we have the supplementary courses which allow you to basically go back to your engineering or natural science background, deepen in that areas as well. Combine this with the knowledge you acquire at our department to foster this engineering background into these scenarios. Here in green, you see what we call our professional development. In addition to what you see here in green is the personal development, in addition to the professional development I just mentioned. So here it's about group work, it's about case challenges, it's about a mentoring program, which allows you to reflect together with a mentor, typically an alumni from our program, to reflect on your own choice of courses, which will guide you a bit, which will prepare you to put your ideas into the professional world. Finally, they are the 2 elements of the internship and the master thesis with which you conclude your program. Let me just give you one typical example of our format, which are the case challenges. You see here some pictures with students going to an industry partner, solving a case over a semester together with company representatives, supporting the cases, listening to you, sharing their insights, challenging you with ideas. And this environment creates also the opportunity for you to leverage your potential. So what is a typical MSc class about? With whom do you sit basically in our lectures? Who are your peers? Typically in our program per year, we have about 80 students to start. quite international, 24 years of average. And you see here down, there are a couple of students, of course, from ETH Zurich, from the bachelor programs, entering our MTech program. But also you see a couple of people coming with an international background to the program. So there's a high diversity also with respect to international students as well. And here on the right side, you see a bit the backgrounds. Mechanical and process engineering are a bit in the lead, but still there is a diversity about bringing together different backgrounds. And that's already quite important for our program, because you learn to deal with people coming with different backgrounds. And this is what you're going to be faced also when you join the professional life. It's not about silo thinking. It's more about overcoming silo thinking, combining people with different backgrounds and to achieve something. That's very important in our program. And that's why we live this diversity as well. So once you finished our program, what is a typical entry point into industry? So this slide shows you a bit of kind of entry opportunities, or where our alumni went to industry. Of course, there's management consulting, but there's also pharma and healthcare, where the skill set of MTech you can create value. Insurance sector, where you have to deal maybe with risks, with risk modeling, with trying to make sense of interdependencies of different kinds of risks to help us mitigate these things. But also mobility in the public sector, about in the energy. Our alumni survey has shown that about 62% of our alumni work then in management positions. This is quite important that you come into management positions with this technology background. When we heard about this introduction from Stefano Brusoni about the importance of leveraging technology, the importance of having a clear understanding of climate risk or of climate change, of the scientific factors driving these elements. But also about 17% of our students are engaged into startups as well. This is also very important for MTech, to have this entrepreneurship mindset to help you leveraging your ideas and putting them into practice. So what you have to do if you are interested to join our program, of course, you have to follow the general application rules. There's the online application. We have here the links for you. We have here the deadlines for you. You probably are aware. If you are a student from MAFT or ETET, you have the chance, or you have the right to follow us as a consecutive program. All other students have to go through this application process outlined here. So I can tell you basically a lot about our program from my program management perspective, but I can't tell you what it's going to be like being a student in our program. And that's why I'm very lucky we have a student here as well. I hand over to Arbor, who will share his perspective on our program. So Arbor, I take away my slides and I leave the floor to you.
Thank you so much, Bastian. So I would like to start with, first of all, I'm Aber, and I'm MSc student at MTech, and I'm the OBIS representative for all academic relations. And I would like to start with you today and discuss two fundamental questions that my mentor asked me when I started my studies. And he said that there are two fundamental questions in your professional life. Those are first related to your studies and the first job. The studies are so important because they will define to a large degree how you think about problems, how you address them, and the soft skills that you will acquire during your program. And regarding the career, it determines what kind of problems you will really solve and in what position you will be. And then I will now discuss with you how these questions helped me to guide me through my decision what to study. And then how MTech really can help to acquire these skills in order to solve these problems. So regarding the thinking, let's start with the studies. Do you want to be someone who is detailed oriented, or do you want to understand the interdisciplinarities that we have been talking about now? So do you want to be the one who models the climate change? Do you want to be the one who understands deeply the roots of the model, or do you want to be the one in a management position who understands the impact of climate on business, on the economy, and how maybe technology may have implications on climate change? And when it comes to problem solving, every one of you is a problem solver since you are so far with your bachelor's right now. But are you able to work and collaborate in teams? This is crucial. We heard that. But in particular, your teams will not be one-dimensional. You will have very diverse teams. And it will be very important to acknowledge different work ethics, different mentalities, different cultures. The third is about people. Are you fact-focused? Only fact-focused, or are you really able to transmit a message, to communicate what you want to do? And sometimes it's not only about facts. When it comes to the career, it's deep tech versus interdisciplinarity for MTech. Do you want to be the one who really develops the vaccine, or do you want to be the one who distributes the vaccine and understands the interdisciplinarity of supply chain, of production, of cooling, and so on? And then Professor Berzoni mentioned that it's about invention versus innovation. Do you want to be the one who develops the algorithms, or do you want to be the one who understands how this product creates value to the customer? This will define whether you're sitting somewhere and developing something, or you're going out there and talking to customers, talking to marketing, talking to legal, talking to different departments and work with them. And then finally, we have seen that. Do you want to contribute, or do you want to lead in management positions? Those are the questions, and now I will tell how MTech really helped me to get through this and to acquire these skills. So I will talk now about interdisciplinarity, about teamwork and communication as skills, and I will go briefly into the student life. So looking at the interdisciplinarity, the program name itself is called, it contains technology, management, and economics. What I would like to do is to take the example, to make it very concrete, the example of artificial intelligence, and explain how you will acquire knowledge so that the technology itself is even more valuable. There is a quote from researchers: the technology in itself has no intrinsic value, because only the application of technology can create more value for the society. So what's so interesting about the MTech or the technology? We've heard that you can deepen your knowledge in the aspect in your previous degree, but also you're very flexible to define. So for example, I come from a mechanical engineering background, and I was able to focus more and more on machine learning topics, but also on energy topics. So it's very flexible there, that helped me to discover the technologies that I really love. And then it comes to where can you create value with these technologies? I mentioned artificial intelligence, and you cannot just go to a company and use an existing technology in existing structures. You will need a data strategy for that. This data strategy will then still not be enough. You will need to change your entire business model in order to really leverage a new technology. And this is what you will learn. You will learn in lectures how business models look like. What are the elements? What are the core elements of a strategy to compete with other companies? But that's not everything. Related to management, you will have, for example, production classes or supply chain classes to understand the fundamentals of supply chains, how they work, how your distributors are related to the company, and how you address customers. And related to the technology, one technology, if you want to really leverage it, will change everything in the supply chain. How you create value, how you get the value from your suppliers, how you work with them, the network, everything will change. And MTech offers you all the dots, and you then have to link the dots. For example, again, with finance. Money is in the end the oxygen of the company, and you will learn the fundamentals about financials, the fundamentals about market risks, how they work, and how you can really make use of technology. And then in the end, neither technology nor management has a purpose other than providing value and prosperity to the economy. And here you learn fundamentals about macroeconomic aspects, fundamental models, how technology delivers prosperity to developing nations, but also to developed nations. The core fundamental models will help you to understand the basics and to build up on that. But I talk now about the interdisciplinarity and the different cores of MTech, but what about the soft skills that I've mentioned? I think two specific aspects here are very important: the teamwork and the communication. The teamwork, because as we mentioned, you will work in teams. Inevitably, you will have to work in teams. So I've had myself over 15 projects in teams, with sometimes randomly mixed, sometimes chosen, which is also very important because you will work sometimes with people in business which have a complete different work ethics, but it will help you to understand during your studies already that it's not about you, it's about the product, it's about the value. In the end, it's about the customer, and maybe you have to find a compromise with your teammates on finding really something. And this helped me to work on that. I've had over 20 presentations, which helps you to understand how you convey a message, how you deliver a message, rather than just presenting for 20 minutes what you did during your last semester. It is about a message, it is about the result, and it's not about the process. And during all these presentations at MTech, and in one of my classes, I even had a presentation training where we have been taught how to approach these kind of things in order to take the audience with us. But it's not only this. We had, for example, also companies, as Bastian mentioned before, where we have real case studies. We work with companies, we get data from companies, and we present our solutions to people from the C-suite of companies that can give us real life feedback if our approach would work, did work, or wouldn't work. And presentations and projects, those are all nice, but in the end, MTech is also about lectures. But in the lectures, it's not only about the content within the lectures, but it's about the discussions that we have within there, because this is where MTech thrives, when people learn from each other and express ideas. And this is also something that you have to learn. And we mentioned that already. Networking is also a very crucial part for us, because you have to connect to understand what other industries are doing. And you will learn this during MTech already. And this is where student life at MTech starts, with networking, and it will end again at networking. But in principle, we have a very strong cohort feeling. Since everyone knows everyone, you have projects with different people, as I mentioned, often randomly mixed. That means you know a lot of people. And the bonding within the entire cohort is very, very strong. And what makes it even more valuable is that it is not one-dimensional, but it's very, very diverse in the sense of nationalities, as we have seen. But what I think is more important and more valuable is it enriches you through the background diversity. We have mechanical engineers, people from biology, physics, and so on, which helps you to understand different fields, talk about different fields, and maybe discover new loves for new technologies or new fields. We are very, very close to the department. Especially since the last year, we have made tremendous change together with the department as the student association. And I think this is also very valuable for students to see that the department cares about you and you can make change happen. Lastly, I mentioned the network, and we have seen that before. The mentoring program is meant to connect you to industry, to get insights early on, for example, for a mandatory internship, to find connections within companies early on. And this networking will help you even later on to move forward with your career. But we also think about how to connect students between the different years. And this is why we have created last year the buddy program, where we connect junior students, first-year students, with more senior students of the second or third year, that help us to bond not only within the cohort, but also between the different years. So let me finish this. And the question that I want to ask you is, who do you want to be? And if you want to be someone who thinks in analogies and who thinks in interdisciplinarities, and you want to make use of technology or natural science background, whatever you have, then I think that MTech, and you would consider yourself as a generalist, then I think MTech can and really does create a lot of value for you related to hard skills and soft skills. And take everything that I said with a grain of salt, because in the end, everyone can become a specialist always. However, I think when it comes to real great value, I think at MTech it lies at the interdisciplinarity. Thank you so much, and I will hand over to Bastian again.
Thank you, Aber, for those valuable insights. Let me just reshare my screen. Yeah, actually, we are close to the end already of this session. On this slide, you see a couple of resources to go deeper. There's our website. There are our study guide, which guide you a bit more into the details of our program, the different building blocks, the different elements. It shows you how can you effectively manage your studies. There's also a chair guide, which gives you much more insights on our different chairs at our departments to get you a sense of all the research that's happening at MTech and which translate into education, which helps you to acquire the skills just discussed and just presented. And there's also social media happen about recent activities, about recent events. We have a couple of public events. We have career talks. Maybe you have the opportunity now in the spring semester to have a look at all these activities. Let me hand over to Stefano again to close this session. Stefano, I think we can close the session here. Just on
I don't
time.
have much to add, actually, not at all. Thank you very much to Bastian and Arber. Thank you very much to you all for having shared this half an hour with us. Any question, feel free to contact Bastian or me, or thank you very much. Have a good day and have a good weekend.